It was just an innocent decision to offer his brother-in-law a place to stay, but little did Eric know that it would open the door to a world of terror and haunted nightmares. As soon as his brother-in-law stepped into the basement, a sudden chill swept over the room, leaving Eric and Tom with an uneasy feeling. From that moment on, Eric began experiencing strange occurrences in his house, things that he could not explain or ignore. Night after night, he would hear muffled voices coming from the floor vents, and catch glimpses of a ghostly figure in a brown dress lurking in the shadows. But this was only the beginning of his terrifying journey, one that would test his sanity and courage to the limit. Watch as Eric recounts his chilling experiences in this bone-chilling tale of a haunted house with a dark and troubled past. Welcome to Eerie Encounters and Hauntings, the channel that delves into the supernatural and the unexplained. If you're a fan of scary stories, paranormal activity, and ghostly encounters, then you've come to the right place. Our channel is dedicated to exploring the mysteries of the unknown and sharing stories that will leave you with chills running down your spine. We'll take you on a journey through haunted houses, abandoned buildings, and dark alleys, where we'll uncover the secrets of the otherworldly. Each video will be a new adventure, and we'll leave no stone unturned in our quest to find the truth behind the eerie encounters and hauntings we explore. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be taken on a journey that will challenge everything you thought you knew about the paranormal. Welcome to Eerie Encounters and Hauntings, where reality is just the beginning. This is a story that has stuck with us, and we'd like to share it with you. This is entitled Lady in the Brown Dress. Eric's brother-in-law had decided to move in with him and his family, but as they entered the basement room where he was planning to stay, they felt a sudden chill that sent shivers down their spines. Tom, Eric's brother-in-law, immediately changed his mind about staying there. Eric tried to reassure Tom that the basement was perfectly fine, but the feeling of unease lingered. As soon as Tom left, Eric couldn't help but feel that something was off. The basement had always given him an uncomfortable feeling, but he had never paid much attention to it. But the strange occurrences began soon after. Every night, Eric would be awakened by muffled voices coming from the floor vent. It sounded like a man and a woman having a conversation, but he could never make out what they were saying. It was an eerie experience, and Eric felt a growing sense of unease with each passing night. He tried to brush it off as his imagination, but it became harder to ignore when the doors in the house would open and close on their own. Eric would close them before going to bed, only to find them open again in the morning. He started to feel like he was being watched, and it was a constant feeling that wouldn't go away. It wasn't until he saw the lady in the brown dress that Eric knew for sure that he wasn't alone in the house. She was tall, with her hair in a neat bun at the back of her neck. He would catch glimpses of her from the corner of his eye, but he could always smell her perfume. It was a strange and unsettling feeling to know that there was someone else in the house with him, someone he couldn't see. Eric's wife eventually left him after 7 years of marriage, and she moved to Germany. It was a difficult time for Eric, and he couldn't help but feel that the lady in brown was unhappy with the turn of events. Her presence in the house grew stronger, and Eric could sense her anger and frustration. One day, as Eric was calling his kids from an upstairs window, the window panes suddenly came crashing down, nearly breaking all his fingers. It was a shocking and terrifying experience, especially since that particular window was a pain to open and close. Eric knew that it was the lady in the brown dress, and he could feel her anger burning within the walls of the house. Eric tried to leave the house, but he found that he couldn't. The lady in the brown dress was determined to keep him there, and she would do anything to make him stay. Eric felt like he was being suffocated, like he couldn't escape her presence no matter how hard he tried. The house had a dark and troubled history, and Eric knew that the lady in the brown dress was the wife of a retired sailor who had built the house. One of the main support beams in the house was actually part of a mast from the last ship he had sailed on. The sailor and his wife never had any children, and Eric believed that the lady in the brown dress was trying to create a sense of family in the old house. But her methods were twisted and terrifying. Eric could feel her anger and resentment growing with each passing day. The house was alive with her presence, and he knew that he had to leave before it was too late. The haunted house had taken its toll on Eric, and he knew that he had to get out before it consumed him completely. The lady in the brown dress was a powerful and vengeful spirit, and he could feel her wrath growing stronger each day. As he walked out of the old house for the last time, Eric knew that he would never forget the haunted history of the house. It was a chilling and terrifying experience. Eric could feel the weight of the house lift off his shoulders as he drove away, but he also knew that he would never forget the haunted history of the house. It was a terrifying and chilling experience that would stay with him for the rest of his life. For weeks, Eric struggled to come to terms with what had happened. He couldn't shake the feeling that the lady in the brown dress was still watching him, even though he was miles away from the house. He would wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, convinced that she was standing at the foot of his bed. Eventually, Eric sought the help of a paranormal investigator. The investigator listened intently as Eric recounted his experiences and then conducted an investigation of the house. The investigator confirmed what Eric already knew: the house was haunted by the vengeful spirit of the sailor's wife. Over the years, Eric tried to move on with his life, but he could never fully escape the memory of the haunted house. He would often dream of the lady in the brown dress, and sometimes, he would swear that he could smell her perfume. Years later, Eric's daughter called him, asking if he remembered the old house. She told him that she had just moved into a new house with her husband, but strange things were happening. Doors would slam shut on their own, and they could hear muffled voices coming from the vents. Eric's heart sank as he listened to his daughter's story. He knew that the lady in the brown dress had followed him, and now, she had latched onto his daughter. He warned her to be careful and to seek the help of a paranormal investigator. The memory of the haunted house still haunted Eric, and he knew that he would never fully escape the vengeful spirit of the sailor's wife. The experience had left a lasting impression on him, one that he would never forget. In the end, Eric realized that some things are best left undisturbed. The dark and troubled history of the haunted house was a reminder that the past should be respected, and that sometimes, the dead should be left to rest in peace. And that's the end of our spine-chilling story of Eric and his haunted house. It's a reminder that sometimes, the past never truly leaves us, and that the spirits of the past can linger on in the present, especially in old houses with a dark history. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, subscribe, and share our channel Eerie Encounters and Hauntings. We'll be bringing you more bone-chilling tales of ghosts, spirits, and unexplainable occurrences. And who knows, maybe you have your own eerie encounter or haunting to share with us. If so, leave a comment below if you have encountered something similar. You can also email us and we might just feature your story in our next video. Until then, stay safe and keep your eyes open for the unexplainable.